Hello and welcome back again. We're going to talk about the Toon Black and White Army. Good result for us.
Took a little while.
Yeah, I was very squeaky bum time throughout the first half because we did create a good few chances, but any chance with Forest, they are going to be able to counter. They've got pace and they do have good players in there, but it's who we are, mate. That can't seem to get a tune out of them at the minute. Was that 7 games now that he's been in charge without a win in all competitions?
He's having talks with the big Greek as well, isn't he?
Oh, meet the Greek.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, they're both. He's got a bit of Greek in him as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's why he got hired because.
I don't know.
Finish 17th with Spurs and then get the Forest job.
Over Nuno, who's got him in Europe. I say we'll talk about Forest for a little bit before going into. What do you think this massive decline has been with Forest compared to last year? Because it's not like they've lost a lot of their players or.
No, I think Chris Wood was probably overperforming last season.
Because he hasn't really.
He scored, I think, 2 goals first game of the season. He's done nothing since.
Yeah.
I just think I don't think it's necessarily a case of they've dropped off. I think they just massively overperformed last season because we saw towards the end of the last season they really started to drop away.
That's why they didn't get into the Champions League.
Yeah, and I think that's where Forest are. I think they were just massively overperforming, and then it started to catch up with them, and I think they've just carried on at that level.
And as we mentioned with Newcastle before in seasons past, when they've got into Europe, the knock-on effect that does have as well. And now that, like I said, Forest have got into Europe for the first time in a long time, and now they're having to play that as well as the Premier League. It's going to be a tricky one. But do you see any routes back for them to get a few results coming forward, or?
Yeah, I think just not under Ange, to be honest. I think he's the wrong manager.
It's a change of culture, I feel like.
Yeah, you've gone from a
very
extremely
rigid,
defensive, structured manager,
to a guy who's sometimes got, 2 players at the back and everybody else is
all out
bombing
attack.
forward.
And I think when you're a team that's a bit rocky and you need a bit of stability, bringing in Ange is just a really
it's
strange
not going to be stable
move.
for you, is it? And did you see, I said make of it what you will, but there was a lot of videoing of Ange after the game at Newcastle, clapping the fans and stuff, and none of the players interacted with him whatsoever. Just walked past him straight down the touchline.
Well, even the fans have started singing "You're sacked in the morning."
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. Like I said 7 games in a bounce with no win. It doesn't make for great reading.
Well, if they sack him, Russell Martin's available.
Sounds Graham Potter.
The thing is with that though, is like you say, who would take that job at the moment? Like I said, because I feel like the more and more something like this keeps happening, who would want to be a manager for that Marinakis?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think who's about, really. Yeah, God knows.
A, there's not many about that I can think of off the top of my head. And B, how many are thinking, oh yeah, that's a... Like I said, it's intriguing in the sense that you're going to get European football, you're going to inherit a half-decent team.
Yeah.
However, you're going to be having that owner on you 24/7. Like I said, Ange's had 7 games and he's already having crunch talks with him.
Yeah, if things carry on, I mean, they've got Chelsea next. Yeah, to be fair, we're talking about teams not wanting the international break. I think Forest are definitely a team that needed that international break.
Oh, God, yeah. And I feel like I do fear for Forest at the minute, and if they do go down, is it going to be similar sort of story that they've had to get back up here? Like, are they going to go down the leagues? Like, they've got a lot of good players there that I think a lot of teams would pick a lot of them out to get their teams in. Like I said, the likes of Callum Hudson-Odoi, any of their backline that they've got have been solid.
Yeah.
Sells, for instance, he'll go for a fair bit of money.
Yeah, although is he getting on a bit now, is he? Sells?
Yeah, but I mean, keepers play for years.
Yeah.
I said that they've got quite a good bit of longevity, but that's me speaking a little bit into the future with it all. But that's how I feel like a lot of Forest fans are feeling potentially at the minute. A lot of doom and gloom around it, which is meant to be a good year.
It's a shame because obviously the season they had last season, things were looking up, and then like this season, I imagine they obviously thought that they would improve.
Just keep going.
Yeah, of course.
It's which what you would want in your club is that you still want that kind of like lineal line to be like that slight bit of improvement each year.
And I think the fact, obviously, Nuno got them that European football in the season they had last season, for him to be sacked after, well, how many games into this season would they have been? Like 3?
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I do fear for Forest. But talking about more positive things, being Newcastle, how do you think that we performed?
Best defence in the league at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I can't get in this spot. There we go. That Malik Chow and Sven Botman, I will put out there, possibly one of the best centre-back partnerships in the Premier League at the minute.
Is Shah injured?
He had the concussion protocol because he had a concussion against Barcelona in the Champions League.
Oh, okay.
And then he had another one the game after. So then Malik Chow came in, Sven Botman came in. Kind of displaced.
What's happened to Hall? Because he started to appear on the bench and now he's disappeared
again.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he's had like another knock-on injury. Tino's out.
Yeah, Tino's out for like 8 weeks, isn't he?
Yeah, they're hoping... They said it's not as bad as they thought it was to begin with.
Right.
But it's still going to be 6 to 8 weeks.
This has had a knockback with his injury, isn't
This has had a knockback. But Jacob Ramsey's come back in now, so the international break's come at a good time to get him back into place. But yeah, like I said... Defensively, like I said, you've still got somebody like Kieran Trippier with his age. He's 35. But he's still bombing up and down the pitch. Like you can tell he hasn't got that pace. But when you've got a young lad like Malik Chow at the back, what I loved about him is that he's very cool and calm. And I'd find like a lot of, let's say, there was a point where Callum Hudson-Odoi did a lovely bit of skill to get past Trippier. And instead of Malik Chow running from centre-back into the right-back position, which would then pull everyone across out of position, he's literally just jogged in the line, kept pace with him, not like rushed anything, and then that's allowed one of the midfielders to go out. And he's just kind of shut the space down, and he's just very cool, calm, and collective. And yeah, really enjoying that. Nick Pope's been quite solid.
He's done nothing wrong really, has he? Yeah, usually has a few mistakes in him, but
there's still a couple of times, like especially in this game, where he's like palmed a shot, but he's not like done it to like push it down and collect it. He's just like hit him, and then the defender pull it. Yeah, and it scares the hell out of me. Like there's times where he does like a worldy save, and his collection, I must say, has been a lot better this year. Like he's using his frame a lot better. But to have, like you say, the fact that we've got Cher, Botman, Chow, Byrne, Livramento, Hall, Trippier, like, it's a good balance across there.
But I'll tell you what would be interesting is how you would be getting on without the whole Isak saga, like having no striker the first sort of 3 or 4 games of the season, because obviously now Woltemade has settled in. You seem like a team now. Before, when I watched Newcastle and you were playing against, like, you were drawing almost every game 0-0.
Yeah.
You just looked like you had
Leeds, Bournemouth, and Villa.
You just looked like you had a massive gaping hole.
Everybody knew what the problem was.
Yeah, no matter who you put there, it just wasn't happening. And now Woltemade,
the Gordon experiment wasn't happening.
No, not at all. But now Woltemade has settled in, and you actually look like a team again.
I'll tell you what, he's so interesting to watch on his own. I know they highlighted him on Match of the Day, like we were talking about earlier, but just everything about him is such like an enigma, I find, because like he's not, like you say, a typical 9 or a 10 or anything. He's a bit of a hybrid where, like you were saying with Sesko, with his hold-up play, Woltemade's hold-up play is really good.
Premier League's just full of like 6'4" strikers now.
I love it. Proper old school again. But yeah, like even just bringing the midfielders into the game, like his like ability to just have like a little flick on that goes into actually sort of a midfielder's feet. And when you've got willing runners like Tonali, Bruno and Joe Linton, that's brilliant. And some of the football we actually played, even though we didn't get like a final ball in, which I'll talk about in a minute, but that interplay between a lot of the time it was that Malik Chow playing it into Woltemade, who was then able to flick it on to Tonali, Bruno, Joe Linton, to then get it out wide. That's when we then had the issue. Gordon, Princess Diana of Wales, hasn't been able to do anything at the moment. He had a good game in the Champions League. Yeah. But then he dropped off in this game. Yeah. Elanga had his best game for us in the Champions League. Elanga's
been a funny one. He's barely had any impact since he's joined.
To be fair, I didn't think he would perform in this game. Old club. Had a really good game in the Champions League, though. Because then when he came off, Jacob Murphy came on, and in the space of 5 minutes, he set up 2 good chances. The one that Malik Chow had that Sales blocked off, and then the one that Harvey Barnes had where it hit the keeper. And that's the kind of balls that you need in, especially when you got that Woltemade lingering around in the box. And then even Harvey Barnes, when he came on, it was a bit of an improvement to what Gordon provided. But that's also a good thing for us to have, is the fact that we've got those 2 players to come on and be able to change it, instead of having, as well as he did for us, like an Almer on.
Yeah.
That is a lot of an improvement for us there. Yeah. But yeah, Woltemade. What do you think of Woltemade?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a bit of a panic buy when you got him.
It 100% was a panic buy. But we were talking about it, weren't we, on the before, about the kind of like random, like all of a sudden it came out and said done deal. Whereas all of the time it's like that build up of like, oh, contact's been made between player and club. Whereas this one was 60 odd mil sent, accepted, due for a medical.
Did you see what the Bayern Munich president said about?
Yeah, very bitter, very bitter. And for me, I hope he uses that, which I think he is at the moment, as a bit of a well, I'll show you then.
Yeah.
Because for me, like, why would you say that? Especially like with Bayern Munich, if they're like the pillar of German football, and he's your German national team striker, why would you want to chuck that in there?
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I think Woltemade has taken life of the Prem very well. His penalty was
unreal.
I don't think you could get any more roof of the net than that. Jesus Christ!
But I think players like Woltemade and Sesko, I think they're built for the Premier League. They're not like these little skillful players that get pushed off the ball and really struggle. Like they're quite big physical players.
And what I think, like with that, I think they enjoy the physicality of it, because I've seen like when it was at Woltemade against Gabriel, when he was like getting punched and stuff in the face. It wasn't like he went down. Even in his interview afterwards, he said, I could have gone down.
Yeah.
Could have made something of it, but I'd rather just tell him. And I love that.
Well, did you see Haaland's interview after the game against Brentford? When he said that he was feeling quite tired, he wasn't really up for it. And then as soon as, I think it was Collins, started shoving him about, he was like, it got me up for it. And then he like fucking scored that goal. He was like shoving him. I remember, I think it was his first season where he came up against Tarkowski and he absolutely bodied him. And
he was doing like all of this in front of him. But I think, for me, I love that sort of thing. I want to see my striker, like, I'm sure you're the same with Sesko, be physical. Especially in this league. Like, there's not many teams that are as physical defensively as Forest, I don't think, especially with the Milenkovic. Probably one of the most physical ones that he's going to find. And he handled him. Like, not a problem. There was like 2 other chances he had. One where he hit the bar, one where the defender managed to get a good block in it, where he should have arguably scored. But yeah, I think, like you said, there's a lot to enjoy about him, and I think there's a lot of potential to even have him and Visser playing together, which would be quite scary for. I think.
It's a shame for Visser, really. He gets the move and then he's out for like 2-3 months.
But like you said, it's maybe worked in advantage for
I think it's
Woltemade.
Definitely worked for Woltemade,
But yeah, I said, I think the biggest compliment that we can say about him is that nobody's talking about how much we're missing at Isak now. And he's filled that striking position.
I mean, next game for you, Brighton away. How do you feel about that?
And then we're in the Champions League to Benfica after that.
Brighton are a funny team. You never know who's going to turn up.
Because they got a draw, didn't they?
Yeah, drew with Wolves.
And Wolves aren't particularly great at the moment.
No.
Same again.
Obviously, they beat Spurs like 2-0.
Yeah, but that's just all part of it. And Brighton and Bournemouth are our bogey teams for some reason. Like I said, I don't think we won against Brighton last year. I think they beat us 3 times. Bournemouth, Eddie Howe's never beaten them. So it's one of those things. We've gone into the international break with a win. Hopefully we can refresh a few of the legs. Woltemade has pulled out of the Germany squad just for flu-like illness. So for me, that's great. Yeah, that's an opportunity that he's not going to get injured.
I'm surprised, actually. If a young player, you would have thought that he'd want to try and play for Germany as much as possible. But yeah, fair.
But I mean, that's
great for Newcastle.
And yeah, I think if we can come into that, because then like I said, we've got the Champions League against Benfica, which will be a good sceptical, I think, because Mourinho loves Newcastle with his time that he's worked under Sir Bobby, so I think that'll be a good one to have. And I don't think Benfica have won yet in the Champions League.
Yeah, lost to Chelsea, didn't they?
So hopefully, if we can get some points on the board there as well, that'd be great.
How many games you played? Just the one?
2.
Who else did you
We
play?
lost 2-1 to Barcelona.
Yeah.
And then we beat Union Berlin 4-0.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, nice.
So I was quite happy with that. But yeah, I think it's positive. I think, like you say, now we've got the striker.
You're starting to come along now, yeah. I think you'll slowly start to climb up the table.
And I still think there's a lot of growing in that team to go. Like I said, there's only a few, like you said, played 4 games. Woltemade and scored 3. And arguably we could have had a penalty in the Bournemouth game that he would have created. So, yeah, I'll put a good one to you. So with these 3 kind of main strikers that have come into the league this year with Sesko, Gyökeres and Woltemade, how would you rank them? 1, 2 and 3.
I think the most loaded question I've ever heard.
This is what happened with me last year, and everybody outvoted me and put Chris Wood in the team of the season. So it's not like it's going to work that well for me.
I'd probably say, Woltemade has got to go top. I think Gyökeres and Sesko, I'd almost put them joint second. I think Gyökeres, he had a good game against Leeds. Other than that, I feel like he's been quite poor.
Yeah,
And with Sesko, it's difficult. He's only started 3 games, so, and the rest of the games he's played about 10-20 minutes each game. So
I'll put it out there. I don't think Gyökeres has been that much different to Kai Havertz.
No.
I honestly don't think he's been that much difference. I thought him coming in, he would be similar to like a Haaland.
I thought he'd be scoring goals almost every week. Yeah.
Where he would just literally, like you say, bulldoze and whatnot. But he hasn't.
No.
Whereas I feel like with Sesko, there's a lot more to potentially see from him. With Gyökeres, I'm waiting for it.
Yeah. I'm so happy that Sesko started scoring because obviously strikers get confidence by scoring. I thought the longer it goes on that he's not scoring and obviously the headlines are like, oh...
But that's what my worry was for Woltemade coming in, because I thought, literally, if he goes X amount of games without scoring, it's straight away to Isak. It's like, if they still had Isak and whatnot. But the fact that he scored that header against Wolves straight away, I was like, right, at least he's got like a bit of a saving grace now. But even if he wasn't to score, I think people can see the benefit of his play and whatnot. I think I would rank them the same. Right, well, that's enough from us for now.
Yeah.
So, see you next time.
See you later.